Got another one of them popping at the mouth or the side of his neck when he.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. This is your host, MagMongoSlade. Today we're going to be talking about NXT from September the 20th, 2022. Not much to discuss on this show, except, to be quite honest, one of the silliest ideas that NXT and maybe even WWE has ever had. They had Solo Sikoa win the NXT North American title, just to then say he won a match that was unsanctioned. He wasn't one of the participants. So even though he pinned Carmelo Hayes and technically won the title, it was announced as him winning the championship. There was an official in the ring. He then defended the title on SmackDown, went to a press conference with the championship. The very next NXT, it says that he has to relinquish the title and that there will be a fatal 4-way ladder match to wrestle for the North American title at Halloween Havoc. This infuriated me. I wasn't, howling and screaming and turning over my TV and wanting to, put my head through a wall. But I instantaneously looked at that and said to myself, and especially once I can't. I need to focus. Okay. This entire show, like 4 times on this show, 2 people get into an argument, then they have a match, right? If what you're saying is that this was not official, then how is any match that happened impromptu official? That means no matches that are impromptu are official. I have been arguing against impromptu matches for months. Back during the Vince era, which, wasn't that long ago. Impromptu matches make no sense. So, on that level, I can understand why you want to take the North American title away from him. It was an impromptu match. It was not sanctioned. Okay, fair enough. Then why is that so inconsistent? Why would you introduce this kind of concept, this kind of logic, and it's inconsistent? It's inconsistent because other people did not have to give up their championships or anything else because they lost impromptu matches. This is silly. Why have impromptu matches at all then? Oh, God. Oh, this is so foolish. Oh, this is so dumb. And Solo Sikoa, it went from being, one of the guys in the bloodline and won a title, and now everybody in the bloodline got belts, and it was great. And we were looking at Sami Zayn funny, like, yo, Sammy, where your strap at, bruh? Where your strap at, babe? Now it's like, Solo also doesn't have a belt. And the only options is to either give him the US belt or to give him the Intercontinental title. Like, this was a perfect splitting of the baby where he could have maintained the North American belt, defended it on SmackDown and Raw and all that kind of stuff, and made it fun. I just literally was acting up because Triple H and Shawn Michaels like to buck tradition and bend the rules. And the one time they bend the rules and actually do something fun, that doesn't really hurt anybody. Carmelo Hayes had the belt for a long time. Him dropping it to Solo Sikoa was not a problem. I didn't have any issue with that whatsoever. And then they bent the rules this one time, and all of a sudden they got to try to put the genie back in the bottle. Come on, man. Come on, man. And then here's the thing: he don't even get an opportunity to wrestle for it. He won the damn thing, and now they're like, oh well, he's going to Raw. He's going to SmackDown rather. Oh, well, whoop the effing do. Whoop the effing do. Thanks a lot. Thanks for coming, Solo Sikoa. Now, here's the issue. What do we do about this title run? Is this title run official? Was it ever official? Did it not actually occur? Because they allowed the title defense, which was sanctioned by WWE and announced ahead of time. So it's like, how could his title defense been sanctioned if his title win wasn't sanctioned? None of this makes any damn sense. Why would you do this? This left a sour taste in so many people's mouths. A lot of people was upset, myself included. But I wasn't ready to run through the wall. I wasn't ready to cut off the show. But I can understand that some people might have been. You know, some people might have looked at this and just said, you know what, this is NXT taking one step forward, 3 steps back. You know, they get this guy. He's hot as fish grease. They put the belt on him. He's going to eventually have to drop it to somebody on the roster. That would have been great. He could have headlined in a takeover or two or whatever. And instantaneously, they screwed it up. Instantaneously, they screwed it up. Sad. Speaking of which, they will be bringing back takeovers. Not that I care that much. It's not like they stopped doing takeovers. It was more or less they just stopped branding them takeovers. And they still only did like 4 shows, 4 PLEs, I guess you could say, 4 pay-per-views a year for NXT. They just weren't labeled takeover. So it's another one of those pointless symbolic changes that Triple H loves to do to throw red meat to these dweebs online. But let's talk about this North American title thing, because a lot of the show was built around this, but there was still a lot left. For instance, the North American title, there was a qualifying match on the show, Grayson Waller versus Oro Mensah. So Oro Mensah cut a promo backstage, says that he came to the NXT to fight the very best, and that Oro means gold, and he's there to win gold, and he's going to qualify for the ladder match. All right. Very bland promo. Not exciting at all. Didn't make you really want to see him. And then when the match actually happens, he looks very plain. He has nondescript theme song. It's they dropped the ball when it comes to, portraying this guy as a special kind of guy who is, the future or whatever. They dropped the ball, man. He just came across just like, again, another Wes Lee, another Idris Enofe and Malik Blade. It's crazy how all those guys are on this show, by the way. All of those guys are on this show. Just a blandly competent, highly athletic black dude. It's unfortunate because I think this guy has something. But you got to give him a character. He needs a personality, a persona. When he comes into NXT and it's just bland, I came to fight the best. I want to wrestle everyone. It's kind of like, oh no, this tells me nothing about you and your personality or anything. He defeated Grayson Waller, however. Grayson Waller got screwed by Apollo Crews, who was crying blood. Crying blood. He had blood dripping from his red eye. I'm like, an eye poke ain't did you that bad, dog. An eye poke did that to you, Apollo Crews. You can't make me believe it. You can't make me believe it. You got the chimp pox. All right, step up from the monkey pox, below the orangutan gorilla pox. All right, you got something. You've been doing something with them eyes. You ain't got no business. All right, you read from the Necronomicon or something. You tried to read the Darkhold or some shit. There's no reason for your eyes to be bleeding like this. He need a maxi pad for his eyeball. What's wrong with this guy? Of course, he blocked Grayson Waller's ridiculous finish because that's the easiest way to distract him. He's got to get outside the ring, to run into the ring, to jump into the ring, to do a stunner. It's stupid. Now, Grayson Waller did pull out a pretty cool move here with that elevated back suplex. I had never seen it before. It looked dangerous because like Oro Mensah was about to break one of his arms, but it was nice. So Oro Mensah wins. Fine match, no problem. He's a good worker, but I am a judge of character. I mean, pretty much anybody is a bland worker. Guy just kind of exists. So. Carmelo Hayes, to continue on with the North American title scene, he was very upset. He marched to the ring, and he says that he's the biggest superstar in NXT, and people have been preying on his downfall, and that he wants everybody that was involved with him losing the title. He wants all of them fired. From the person who rang the bell to the person who made the announcements to the guy who played the music, everybody. Then he says that Solo Sikoa came into his house and stole from him, but that's okay. He's still the A champion. Andre Chase interrupted this. Said that last week he got cut off by Carmelo Hayes, who told him it wasn't the time for this. They're serious. They're having a serious time here. He went to got in the ring to say it again. Trick Williams threatened him if he was going to say it, and he said it anyway. Last week was a teachable moment. The fight was on. Chase U and Trick and Mello got into a bit of a tiff. Immediately afterwards, a referee runs to the ring, and Trick and Mello versus Chase U, Bodie Hayward, and Andre Chase. I couldn't have cared less about this. I was far more interested in Carmelo Hayes' response to losing than I was to him doing anything physical with these guys. Chase U ends up winning because Andre Chase pinned Carmelo Hayes. Another impromptu match that Carmelo Hayes loses. Taking this guy, I mean, come on. You beat him twice in 2 weeks. Let's calm down right now. I mean, he lost to Andre Chase, who sucks. But at least Andre Chase is over. That's one thing I can say. And it's looking like Carmelo Hayes might be on his way out. Where looking at this, it just makes no sense to have Andre Chase pin him. He's probably on his way out. Now, moving on from that, because that was absolutely disturbing. Wes Lee cut a promo. He says that he's medically cleared. He wasn't. Let's before I even critique it, let's go into it. He says he's medically cleared, and he had the privilege to not have to qualify because technically he was the number one contender anyway. So he could just go straight to the Fatal 4-Way, but he says, no, I don't want no special privileges. I want to earn it. This was immediately followed by Stax cutting a promo saying that Wes Lee should have taken the free ride because his qualifying opponent is the Don himself, Tony D. And I nodded at that. I was like, okay, that's good. But I was, kind of weirded out by the Wes Lee promo because this guy got physically assaulted. He got destroyed backstage by Carmelo Hayes. And he's physically able to go out there. And he is not the one who confronted Carmelo Hayes. That would be the perfect thing. That would make sense, wouldn't it? Carmelo Hayes got rid of him for the evening, but now he's back. So he should be able to get some revenge on Carmelo Hayes. That's the first problem. The second problem is there was no fire. There's no fire. There's no intensity to Wes Lee. Dude, you just got your head smashed into the locker. I would be pissed if that opportunity was ripped away from me, let alone how it was ripped away from me. I would tell Carmelo Hayes, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. That's what I want to see. I want to see legitimate anger and intensity come out of this thing. As far as his match with Tony D'Angelo, to be quite honest, Wes Lee needs to lose that match. Tony D'Angelo has a far bigger upside than Wes Lee. And then, like I just said, Oro Mensah is going to be in the ladder match because he defeated Grayson Waller. So we don't need Wes Lee. They're similar performers. We don't need Wes Lee. We don't need two of the same type. So Tony D'Angelo should win, which would make Wes Lee look like the biggest fucking goober on planet Earth because he had the opportunity to skip all this and he chose not to. Sean, sir, do we need to have a sit down and discuss why you did this? Why you're doing this? We probably need to talk it out a little bit. Probably need to, have a little bit of a conversation about why you chose to go in this direction, knowing that this direction is pretty damn dumb. All right, it's pretty dumb. Sorry to tell you. So the North American title situation is already a little bit, They're going to have qualifying matches. It's probably going to be Andre Chase and Carmelo Hayes in a qualifying match, but that has not been confirmed yet. And And I don't know if Carmelo Hayes even has to qualify, but Oro Mensah is going to qualify, and I'm pretty sure Tony D'Angelo will. So I'm fine. I really don't need the ladder match. I really don't. But it's NXT, so we got to have random ladder match, and there it is. Triple H and Shawn Michaels putting guys in ladder matches. It is what it is. All right, let's get into the regular order of the show. Axiom was defeated by Nathan Fraser in match 2 of their best of 3. It's hard to get into these matches because 1, they're babyface versus babyface. 2, the winner gets nothing. So it's hard to care about this. There's no title on the line. There's no title match on the line. Now they may add a winner is in the tournament stipulation to the third match, which is what I'm going to guess that they're going to do. But ultimately, it's hard to care about these babyface versus babyface matches that are just athletics. It's really hard for me to care about this. Really hard. Alba Fire said that she saw fear in the eyes of Mandy Rose. I'm going to be the one that's going to burn your empire to the ground. I'm like, ooh. It sounded like her tongue was 10 pounds. Anyway, Mandy Rose was watching this nonsense. And it was kind of like, huh? Anyway, she wasn't too upset about Alba Fire. Said she's going to take out Fallon Henley next week for talking that Yin Yang tour. And then she's going to worry about Alba Fire. And I was like, okay. Because I had completely forgotten about Fallon Henley confronting Mandy Rose last week and calling her boo gross. Because he was being gross. You know, he was. Second match, Toxic Attraction defeated Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley. Now, this was very interesting. Before the match, Damon Kemp basically, it was like a Matlock mystery, all right? We went through the whole step-by-step how he set up Diamond Mine. He was the one who took money from Tony D'Angelo, but Santos Escobar returned and screwed everything up. It would have worked. Tony D'Angelo would have won a tag team championship if it wasn't for that pesky Santos Escobar. He had to make his return and screw everything up. So he was the one who took the money. He was the one who destroyed Roderick Strong's cell phone. You know, I was just kind of like, God, oh, where's Andy Griffith when you need him? Where's Lorraine Hansberry? For somebody to just give me the rundown, Columbo or something like that, to give me the rundown of what's going on here. He's just giving it all away for free. He's telling us everything. So after he admits to everything, he says that he will not fight the Creeds 2-on-1, but he will fight either one of them 1-on-1, and it's up for them to choose which one. So Ivy Nile apparently has seen this and seen this vignette of Damon Kemp basically confessing, and she was pissed. She was very upset at Damon Kemp. Tatum Paxley wanted her to focus and said, you know, hey, when you're going to be a little off your game if you're upset at Damon Kemp, but she said, no, I'm fine, in her 12-year-old girl voice. Then she stormed away. They had the match. Match was fine. Tatum Paxley is wrestling in a mask now. She looks cute in the mask. I like the mask. I don't think the mask is permanent. I think she probably broke her nose or something like that, but they should probably make the mask permanent. She stands out with it. Make the mask a permanent part of her gimmick. I don't like the name Tatum Paxley, though. That name sucks. The name Tatum sucks. Paxley sucks. All right. Can we get this girl a nickname or something? But Ivy Nile rules. Ivy Nile is great. Why Ivy Nile has had an aborted singles push makes no sense to me. Ivy Nile had an excellent match with Meiko Satomura in NXT UK. She seemed to really be coming along. And she, like Tiffany Stratton, seemed like they were destined to be champions. And then for some way, they got derailed. So Toxic Attraction wins the match. All perfectly fine and good in Toxic Attraction Town. At least for right now. The tag team still seems pretty aimless. They've been champions enough. It's hard to tell where to go from here. Neither one of them can challenge for the singles title. So it's kind of hard to tell where we're going to go with Toxic Attraction anyway. All right, so Schism, they have a thing. They cut a promo, the three of them. They said it's time to pick sides. No more turning the other cheek for them. the brave will have nothing to fear. And the road to inclusivity is bumpy, and that people have had ample time to accept change. And now it's coming whether you want it or not. And Joe Gacy added to this point that the world responds to a firm hand. And he talked about this in terms of Cameron Grimes, that he's going to have to start taking a firm hand with Cameron Grimes because he's tried everything. So this is a nice little promo here where they actually telling people, yo, we're going in a different direction now. Now we're not going to be phony nice guys anymore. You know, no more buttons. We're going to beat you into submission now. So I didn't mind that. What I did mind was this match. Idris Enofe and Malik Blade ran down to the ring. They got into a bit of a tiff. Immediately, impromptu match, Dyad versus Idris Enofe and Malik Blade. Malik Blade and Idris Enofe are very cool guys. They seem to have good personalities. I wonder what happened to them. I liked their little skits with Toxic Attraction. I liked the fun stuff they were doing by being horny black dudes. That stuff was like super fun. And then out of nowhere, it just stopped. Malik Blade was wearing a crazy Cosby vest, a Cosby sweater-like vest, which was dorky as hell, but it made him stand out. So that ruled. It's weird. It's so weird. Like small things like that can make you stand out. And it really did a good job with him, making him stand out this week. But the Dyad ended up winning. I was okay with the Dyad winning. There was a big hug spot between the Dyad and Gacy, which was very, very weird. Them using it to get heat. I like it. If it'll get them some heat, I like it. If it gets people to respond to them, and I don't, I hated Joe Gacy when he had magic powers and he was coming across like Skeletor or whatever. But I generally like Joe Gacy. I'm not as big a fan as I was when he first showed up, but I'm generally a Joe Gacy supporter. So if it gets him over, it works for me. I think he's doing really good with his character and his promo. His promo is very good. But it's just going to take a while to get people to care about what he's doing. But I'm having fun with it, especially his promo on this show where he talked about, people have had ample time to accept change. Now it's coming whether you want it or not. That's kind of how it gets when you're kind of doing the left-wing politics thing. You want to be nice at first. You say things with a grin and a little bit of a crazy in your eyes. And then eventually, the grin goes away and it's just the crazy in your eyes left. So hopefully that's what we got here. So Cameron Grimes said that Joe Gacy targets the weak and the lonely, and he's neither one. Then promised to chop down the schism tree and use it as fuel to go to the moon. He's still doing it. He's still there. I don't know why Cameron Grimes is still in NXT, but he's going to fight Joe Gacy finally next week. Ought to be very interesting. They put a lot of time and effort into this thing. It's coming across like it might be the main event to me. That might be the main event. Okay, cool. Wendy Chu was defeated by Cora Jade. This was very interesting. Before the match, they played a video for Roxanne Perez where she talked about why she challenged Meiko Satomura and said that even though she lost the match, she gained her respect. And in losing, she found a toughness and grit she didn't know she had. And that is what she's going to bring to her next match with Cora Jade. Cora Jade, of course, doesn't know she said this, doesn't really care that much. She had to wrestle Wendy Chu. Now, Wendy Chu was wearing ice cream cones on her onesie, which is indie as fuck. Right up there with the pizza guy. Look, all the sleep. Now, I'm glad she stopped doing some of the sleepy moves, like the running, sleepy elbow drop and all that kind of stuff. She's become more of a serious wrestler, this Wendy Chu. But she is a very loud gimmick. She's gimmicky as hell. Super gimmicky. But the gimmick also doesn't really, it shows a bit of her personality, which is good. The problem is the gimmick has limitations. There's only so long people can put up with it. There's only so serious people can take it. So I don't know what they plan to do. You know, because Wendy Chu is kind of hitting the ceiling. She can't be the champion with this gimmick. Like, what are we going to do with her? So Cora Jade wins the match, which was the right decision. Afterwards, Lash Legend attacked Wendy Chu and beat her up because Wendy Chu was talking that trash to her last week. So we're going to get a Wendy Chu Lash Legend feud. Oh boy. Just light my fucking leg hairs on fire while you at it. What else we got here? Jesus H. Christ. Gallus, they were backstage. They were playing poker and throwing darts. Briggs and Jensen stormed into their place while they were having fun and started trying to pick fights. But there were security guys in there and they separated them. I don't like Briggs and Jensen. As a matter of fact, I can't stand them. Okay, they're going to have a pub rules match. I don't know what that means. But I'm willing to figure it out. I'm willing to actually give them an opportunity to tell me what it's about. All right, Sanga was defeated by Von Wagner. Sanga is a big dude. Very big dude. And Von Wagner is also a big dude. This match was useless, though. It didn't really show me anything from either one of these guys. Unfortunate. Missed opportunity. Sol Ruka, they did a vignette for her. She ran down all the things that she liked. I don't know if this was wrestling or if this was Tinder. She was talking about art and music and being in the middle of the ocean swimming. And I was like, what the fuck does any of this have to do with wrestling? None of this has anything to do with wrestling. You know, this has uniquely nothing to do with wrestling. It's like, I don't know, this is your LinkedIn profile. I don't care about any of this. What's your combat background? You know, did you take Muay Thai or something like that? You know, you talking about how you're gonna bring your unique art and music style to. I don't care about that, sister. Come on, man, get it together. Shit, what the fuck? I forgot to mention that the Creed brothers decided that Brutus was going to be the one that was going to fight Damon Kemp. I like that. I think he's going to end up having to fight both of them anyway, but I like that. The main event of the show was Tyler Bate versus JD McDonough, number one contender for the NXT Championship. They didn't bother to really promote this match or tell a story about this match throughout the show. They just decided to, you know, if you watched last week or 2 weeks ago, then you know what this match is all about. But I would have liked for them to tell the story of these guys, tell the story of their history or whatever. Anyway, we kind of went into the match cold because there's no real heat between the two of them outside of McDonough attacking Tyler Bate once. Braun Breaker has beaten both of these guys already, so it's also gonna be hard to get heat. But the fans like Tyler Bate, so they're cheering for Tyler Bate. Early in the match, there's excessive pin attempts between the two of them. A lot of roll-ups and sunset flips and, you know, schoolboys and everything just to get a 2 count. As the match starts to pick up, you know, McDonough starts to put together the combination offense. So he's got like a 650. He's a heel and he's doing a 650. Well, 450, I'm sorry, not a 650. He did a 450 into a brain buster. Both of them only got 2 counts. In the end, he ended up winning with the C4 from the top rope and then the devil inside suplex. Again, this match was indie as all fuck. You flip a guy off the top rope, which pretty much everybody does now. I don't see why we continue to do that C4 move. They're doing it in AEW. They're doing it in WWE. Hell, Ricochet and Carmelo Hayes just did this move. I don't really see it. That's the thing about moves, right? Everybody does the same fucking moves. So, I don't know. I wasn't really all that impressed with the C4 over the top rope. Off the top rope, rather. In any event, he wins with the devil inside suplex, which is a substantially less impactful move than being plunged from the top rope. But what do I know? I'm not the one taking the bump, right? I'm the only one. I'm just the one with the eyes. Anyway, JD McDonough wins the match. Was that the right decision? I honestly couldn't tell you. To be quite honest, I knew Shawn Michaels was booking this thing because, again, McDonough lost. They gave him some time off. He won a match here. He won a match there. And now he's back in the hunt. Braun Breaker, who was on commentary, who actually wanted to face Tyler Bate, got face-to-face with JD McDonough. And suddenly, new music is playing. And the crowd reacts. And JD McDonough is reacting. And we look. And it is Ilya Dragunov former NXT UK champion who was injured and had to surrender his title. He gets in the ring and squares up with JD McDonough and Brian Breaker. McDonough is actually doing a good job selling Ilya Dragunov being there because he was literally just became the number one contender less than a minute ago. And now here comes Dragunov, who never lost his title, to sort of usurp his spot. I love Ilya Dragunov. Ilya Dragunov is Russian. They changed his theme. His theme is a lot happier now. And I'm like, no, I liked his original theme. It was militantly Russian. You know, he's a babyface who's Russian. That's not a bad thing. Let's lean into that, you know. And I'm not saying that the Russians are the good guys in the war of the Ukraine. I'm just saying is, if you're going to complain that, you know, when Arabs were the bad guys in the world, that all the Arabs were heels, then that should apply to Russians too. You know, this guy was a Russian. There's nothing he could do about that. He can be a babyface and be Russian, you know, so that's fine. They should have left his theme song alone. I liked it. Now they gave it some happy crap music, and I'm not a fan of that. But I do like the idea of Ilya Dragunov versus Braun Breaker. Now, I'm guessing what they're going to end up doing is probably having JD McDonough have to fight Ilya Dragunov, or making it a triple threat match, or they could end up making it a fatal 4-way match by putting Tyler Bate back in the situation. But I think they should have had Dragunov come in before Bate lost and had the fatal 4-way concept then. But considering they doing the fatal 4-way with the North American title, maybe it wasn't the right idea. And I'm not a big fan of fatal 4-ways anyway. I'm only really into multiple man matches and elimination style matches, or a ladder match, or a Royal Rumble, or a Battle Royal. Not really a big fan of the triple threat or the fatal 4-way match. But it seems like they're leaning more towards a triple threat here. JD McDonough just has a giant head. Ilya Dragunov, to my much surprise, he was not that much smaller than Braun Breaker, which means that Braun Breaker is not that tall. He might be, you know, built very well, but he's not a tall guy. Okay, sure, because I remember Ilya Dragunov looked like a small child standing next to Cesaro. You know, that was, what, last year? Yeah, so it wasn't that long ago. Dragunov rules, you know. Do I see any of these guys beating Braun Breaker? I think Dragunov has a good chance to beat him, but I don't think they'll do it without a serious character. He needs to bring back the Za. And, you know, he probably needs to turn heel on Braun Breaker. And I think that would be very good. If he was... Because it seemed like that's where he was going when he was saying, long live the Za. It seemed like he was, you know, inching towards being either a very extremely intense babyface, or he was getting ready to turn heel. But I'm very interested in how Dragunov fits into this title picture. I don't know what they do with Tyler Bate, though. What do you do with Tyler Bate now that he's lost? He's a short guy. You bring him to the main roster? What do you do? I don't know. So, what do you guys think? Like, share, subscribe. Thank you guys for your time. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.